Hello everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we have my October book haul. This is a quite large book haul again. That's part of the reason we're doing the Clear Your Shit readathon. For the rest of the year, I did have an announcement video out recently of that is what we're doing. The TBR for the end of the year. But I have 24 books to talk to you guys about today. I guess the good thing is that only 15 of them are physical. We did have a couple like ebook sales as well that I wanted to talk about. So it's not as many going onto my shelves as it could be, but at the same time, it's still quite a bit. So let's jump right on in. We are going to be starting with my physical books and specifically ones that are like the pre-orders that I placed earlier this year, the things that I knew were eventually going to be coming in. The first one I have here is actually a Kickstarter, so it's something that I funded earlier this year, and it came in and it's a nice big chunker here. It's going to be this, When Life Gives You Legends by Luna Writer. So this one is going to be sort of like a D&D style book. I think this is like a whole series, like a trilogy or something in one. That's why it's huge. I absolutely love the edges and everything that we got with it. Like, this is just gorgeous. I remember from funding this, we actually had like a couple polls on like what we wanted the edges to look like. The author obviously came up with like this kind of stuff, but we got to choose like the color of the outline of like the mythical creatures and dragons and stuff, and how the rainbow looked. Like, it's just a very, very pretty, gorgeous copy here. Like I said, it is huge. I think it's a trilogy all bound in one. And so it starts off When Life Gives You Legends, book 1. It has some like gorgeous illustrations in here as well. I'm very excited about this. It's a little bit intimidating to like hold this thing because it's so big, but it's because it's like a whole trilogy in one. We did get a little bit of like cutesy stuff to go with it. First, we have like a little business card. I will put this stuff here so you guys can look her up if you would like. It also came with a very, very cute bookmark. Like, I love this. I think this is like the sort of vibe of the not Kickstarter editions. So it's like lemons and a beer stein. And then we also have like, you know, some of the characters and stuff on here. We got this like little parchment style envelope that had a wax seal. I very carefully opened it. And this is just like, you know, a little note that is signed by the author. Again, the touches on here, very, very cute. We also got a like vinyl sticker of a dragon with some books. And then you got one, I think it was random, of who you got, like a character sheet. So this one that I got is for Kalina Starbrook, class Ranger, race half-elf, 10 strength, 16 dexterity, 12 constitution, 14 intelligence, 9 wisdom, 15 charisma, and she is a rebellious teenager that longs for adventure in hopes of one day connecting with the father she never knew. I love the idea of this. This one says, 1 halfling rogue, 3 chaotic teens, 0 chance of staying retired. Tilda Quickthatch thought she left adventuring behind for good. These days she's just a small town tavern wench with a knack for pouring drinks and avoiding her past. But when 3 teens show up demanding training, she's dragged back into a world of cursed artifacts, deadly magic, and the kind of enemies you don't forget. From castle break-ins to carnival-style dragon wagons, this ragtag party will have to outwit a necromancer, rescue a bard, and maybe, just maybe, save the world without killing each other first. Again, this sounds right up my alley. Because it is like the whole, I think, trilogy again, in this bind-up. I did pay $55 for this, but it's very pretty and I'm very happy to have it. Now I just need to read it. Then we had a couple other pre-orders. The first one I have here is The Princess Knight by Kate Jacobs. I talked about this one in my like most anticipated releases that were coming out soon because I have been excited for this since back when it was called Medievally Blonde instead of The Princess Knight. This is sort of a Legally Blonde retelling in the fact that like our main character is going somewhere, I think, to try and win a guy back, but ends up in a way like fulfilling her destiny and realizing that she's better at some of this other stuff anyway. And it's like medieval and she's gonna go be a knight. I am very, very excited for this one. I love the cover. I did prefer the other title better, but that's fine. Like, I'm just so happy to have this in my hands. Then another pre-order that I have here is The River Drags Her Down by Ji Hyun Yoon. This is a YA, I'm pretty sure. And I'm not like 100% into YAs as much as I used to be, but this one sounds very, very intriguing. I love that this like first edition has so cool like sprayed edges and things. Like, it's gorgeous. Like, underneath our dust jacket, again, very gorgeous. But basically this is gonna be like necromancy type of stuff. She has always known the rules: never resurrect anything larger than the palm of her hand. But that was before her sister died. So this is about two sisters, and I guess one of them at least can sort of like raise the dead, but is only supposed to be doing that with things that are smaller than her hand. Her sister dies and she decides to bring her back, and then realizes this might not be the sister she knows. Like, I'm very intrigued. Now we're gonna get into some book box books. The first two I have here, I did do an unboxing for, so I will leave a link down below, but I got my first Allurial box, which is the Romantasy subscription from Book of the Month. And these are gonna be a little bit more expensive than Book of the Month. I've never actually done Book of the Month personally, but they seem to be more like special editions. They have a little bit of stuff going on with the edges and the end papers. And so I was intrigued by a couple of the books that came out for October. And so the first one we have here is The Ordeals by Rachel Greenlaw. This is one of the ones that I was already intrigued by. We're gonna have some like trials in here and stuff like that. It is very gorgeous here. Again, we do have some sprayed edges. I'm a sucker for extra stuff with our books. And then while the hardcovers are fine, the end papers, we do have special end papers for these books as well. And this one says, in this lush atmospheric romantasy, an illusionist competes in a series of deadly trials for a spot at an elite magical college. That is, if another hopeful doesn't kill her first. Like, I am sold with that right there. I love deadly magical trials and things like that. I was already intrigued by this, so I did pick it up. And then I actually picked up a second one as well. I picked up Vesselless by Courtney L. Wynn. This one also appears to have trials in it, which was part of the reason why I had never really actually heard of this before, but I wanted to try it. So here are what those edges look like. And again, plain outside, but interesting end papers on the inside. And this one says, an addictive enemies to lovers romance following the heir to a fantasy kingdom and the seductive spirit sent to claim her soul. But they do have to survive a tournament, I think, together. And so again, yes. And then the last book box that I got for October was the Evernight box. Here is what we have here. I'm very intimidated by this book, but it's You Weren't Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White. I love what they did with this, although I do think the original is creepy in a way as well. Here are our edges. Underneath the dust jacket is very creepy. And when I say intimidated by this, I read The Spirit Bares Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White, which is a young adult. Here are some end papers. And we have more on the other side. Young adult horror. And I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think what it did very well. I liked the representation we had in there. We have a character who's trans. We have a character who is neurodivergent, I think autistic specifically. And I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because in a way, I was very uncomfortable with what I was reading. And I think that was the point of it. So I probably could have given it a higher rating, except for at times I was like, can I personally actually get through this? That's a YA horror. This is Andrew Joseph White's first adult horror, and I have heard a lot of people praise this, but at the same time, apparently, it doesn't pull punches. Like, this is a horror specifically written for adults, and it's going to be taking a trans character who, in this Appalachia world, like they're in the mountains and stuff like that, there's like a hive, sort of, and this is the one place where he has felt like he's the man who he's supposed to be, and people accept him, and he has a partner, and apparently he gets pregnant, and the hive thing is going to make him have the pregnancy and keep the pregnancy. And I'm like, as a woman who chose to be pregnant and have kids, I'm already just very intimidated by like where this is going to go. I know it's going to make me very, very uncomfortable. I knew this was a book that I wanted to have and to try again because I'm very intrigued, but at the same time, like I can already tell I'm gonna need to be in the right mindset to read this. But yes, this is what we have. Then I have some books that I bought just to buy. So the first one that I have here is The Traitor Queen by Danielle L. Jensen. I mentioned this a little bit in my TBR, like we're gonna do the Clear Your Shit Readathon video, because I got off track with my October TBR a little bit, and it's partly because I read The Bridge Kingdom very end of September going into October because I was a little late finishing that book. But I finished it, absolutely loved it, was obsessed, and needed to know what was gonna happen next, so I had to go to the store the very next day and buy this so that I could read it. So I did buy this and read it in October. That's something at least. But yes, this is more than just a duology, but like the main characters that we're following are in these first two books. So it sort of feels like a duology in the middle of a bigger series. And I really, really enjoyed what I read. It's very political. We have characters that have like an arranged marriage, but she's also sort of like an assassin and is hiding that identity from the person that she got married to. I really, really enjoyed it. So like, I'm not mad that I picked it up. I needed to know what was gonna happen. While at that same store, I picked up Moan by Junji Ito. This is the newest short story collection, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it says story collection. This is horror manga. I actually have not read this yet. These things are gonna be very quick to read. I should pick it up and read it. I know October's over, but like, I've definitely read Junji Ito throughout the different months of the year before. But yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I need that, because I have all of them on my shelves. I've read all of them as well. So yeah, I need to read this like as soon as possible. I don't usually let these sit on my shelves very long. But yeah, so while I was there, picked up a horror manga. I also picked up Fucking Around by Emily Rath. This is something that I have just been intrigued by for so long, and anytime I go into a bookstore, I look for it. And so it's very thick and chunky. This is gonna be Why Choose Romance with hockey, but also partly Emily Rath has had a lot of like haters talking about her in threads and things recently, and it's all people that seem to be on the conservative side of things, mad that Emily Rath is not conservative, and she's literally writing about polyamorous relationships and things like that. Why choose romance? Of course she's going to be supportive of LGBTQ. So at the same time, like I have been wanting to read this and I've been looking for it, but I like doubly wanted to support her because of all the stuff she's been going through. I do like Why Choose Romance. I haven't read a good one in a while. And again, this has just been something that's been very, very intriguing. I've seen very good reviews of it, and so I did pick this up. Then I also have a video. I went to Tacoma's first romance-only bookstore, which is called Shelf Indulgence. I tried to go during opening day, and it was so busy, the line. I was in line for over an hour and a half, and I didn't even get like halfway to the door. So I went back a different day. They didn't have a ton of selection there because of the fact that even though it was like a couple weeks later, they were still trying to fill their shelves. But I did find something in the local author area, which is called Faultless Notion by Linnea March. I am very intrigued to try this one. This is obviously going to be some sort of like rock star romance, but it's also like fake marriage, accidental marriage. They accidentally get married. Like he, I think, is like part of the band and she's some sort of like maybe their manager or something. They accidentally get married somehow. And instead of just getting a divorce and breaking up and stuff, their label is like, no, this is gonna be good for you. Let's keep you guys together. Try and pretend the marriage is working for like all the fans and stuff. And I, again, very, very intrigued by that premise. I love fake dating and fake marriage and stuff, and it feels in that vein. So I picked it up. And then we had our like last farmer's market of the season in October, about halfway through October. We were there for the farmer's market, But my library also had a Friends of the Library book sale, so I picked up some library books that are, I guess, decommissioned now and are now going to be on my shelves. So the first one I have here is Snow White with the Red Hair, Volume 12 by Sarada Akiduki. This is a series I have been reading from my library and absolutely loving. And they only had Volume 12 that they were getting rid of for some reason, but I do feel like because this is such a huge series, I'm going to want to probably thrift them, buy them secondhand in general. Otherwise it's going to be expensive to do. So when I saw one, even though it was number 12, and I think I've read up to volume 10, I picked it up. I also picked up Waste of Space by Gina D'Amico. I've read Croak by Gina D'Amico, which is YA. This, I think, is YA as well, about like a Grim Reaper type of thing. This is going to be sci-fi, and it, on the top says, "Welcome to the weirdest reality show in the galaxy." And so, yeah, they're not here to make friends. Cram 10 teens into a spaceship and blast off. That's the premise for the out-of-this-world reality show Waste of Space. The young cast members are volatile, over-the-top, ready to fall to pieces at the drop of a space helmet, and completely ignorant of the fact that the production will be fake. Hidden in a desert warehouse, their spaceship replica is equipped with state-of-the-art special effects dreamed up by the shady television network and some equally shady scientists. The show is a tremendous success, millions of people tune in, ratings are through the roof, and then something goes wrong. And just as the cast members start to suspect something has gone wrong, and the viewers know for sure that something has gone wrong, all communication is severed. Now no one can tell what's real and what's fake. Instability and paranoia loom large, and the only way for the cast to figure out what's going on is for them to work together. The kids stumble closer to the truth, dread seeping into every corner of the ship as they find out what happens when a reality show loses its grip on reality. I love the idea. We do also have like sort of like mixed media messages and things. It's not just prose. Quite a bit of it is actually like chats and things. I want to read it. Then I also picked up The Wicker King by Kay Ancrum. This is something that I've been wanting to read for a good long time because of this. As you read the story, the pages go from clean to darker to black, and I'm pretty sure this is based on like what the character is going through, and like I need to read it. I love the concept. August and Jack have never lived in the same world. August is a misfit with a pyro streak, and Jack is a golden boy on the varsity rugby team, but their intense friendship goes way back. It's something they keep for themselves, and they rely on each other for survival. When Jack begins to see increasingly vivid hallucinations, August decides to help Jack the only way he knows how, by believing him, and believing in the fantasy kingdom that creeps into the edges of the real world. Yeah, I'm not gonna read any more of that just because like I love the idea of this when books can give you more than just like the reading experience and there's also something visual. I love that, so needed that. I also picked up The Other Me by Sarah Zacharick Jeng. So this is adult, and I believe it's going to be a little bit more, I don't know if it's actually thriller or not, but this is going to be sort of like two different timelines, two different parallel universe type of things. It says 2 lives, the one you wanted, the one that wanted you. Her birthday should be like any other night. 1 minute, Kelly's a free-spirited artist in Chicago going to her best friend's art show. The next, she opens a door and mysteriously emerges in her Michigan hometown. Suddenly, her life is unrecognizable. She's got 12 years of the wrong memories in her head, and she's married to Eric, a man she barely knew in high school. I don't even need to read more than that because, again, I love that concept. I need to read it. This I do think has been on my radar since before it came out. I think I mentioned this in one of my like anticipated releases for the year it came out. And then the last one that I picked up is Bonds of Brass by Emily Skrutsky. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. This is going to be another adult, and this is sci-fi. This is book 1 in the Bloodright trilogy. This is another one that has been on my radar for a while. And I just never picked it up for some reason. So it says, a young pilot risks everything to save his best friend, the man he trusts most and might even love, only to learn that his friend is secretly the heir to a brutal galactic empire. I want to say that's probably all I actually need to read. This is definitely sci-fi. I think it is LGBTQ. I needed to pick it up. I only picked up things that I had seen before from the Friends of the Library book sale. And the way that my library does the Friends of the Library book sale is they have like suggested prices, but you can really do it by donation. You can do whatever you want. I think their suggested price was like $3 per hardcover, and I gave more than that. I bought books for me, I bought books for the kids, and then I bought my mom a couple like mass market Christmas books that she wanted, and I ended up thinking like based on their suggested prices, it was supposed to be like $19 worth, and I gave them $25 because I just wanted to like increase it a little bit. So those are all the hardcovers. It goes up to here next to me. I'm gonna have to find a space for them on the shelf, which is sad, because I don't know where I'm gonna put them. But now we're gonna go into the 14 ebooks that I have. We had a couple different like Stuff Your Kindle type of things at the beginning of October. I think we might have had the original Stuff Your Kindle. It's hard for me to tell now though, because of the fact that we don't have as many Stuff Your Kindle from like romance bookworms as we used to, but now a lot of other places use Stuff Your Kindle, which they were perfectly fine with. All I know is that I got 5 books from the first group that we did. The first one that I have here is Nightfall by Nikki Cartier. Callie Nightfall is cursed, at least that's what she believes. Her family has been plagued with mysterious deaths, and she hasn't seen a full moon since the night her grandfather died. Now a record-breaking storm is rolling in, and burglaries are happening all over town. Whatever they're looking for, she knows it's linked to her family, except no one believes her, and no one but Garrett Reyes, the young, hot, and forbidden small-town sheriff who kissed her on her birthday last year and then ghosted her. But as she and Garrett work to stop the robberies, Callie begins to unravel her family's secrets, as well as Garrett's, and she's in more danger than she ever imagined. This is going to be like a contemporary fantasy, but like with witches, werewolves, and things like that, so I did want to try. I also picked up The Grey Prophecy by Maria A. Eden. If you kill a witch who delivers a prophecy, it won't come to be true. As a child, Corey delivered a prophecy that foretold all witches practicing dark magic would lose their power on a future winter solstice. When she spoke the words aloud, it put a target on her back and tied her fate to a ticking clock. After a decade of hiding and pushing away her magic, Corey moves to the idyllic town of Farley, Maine. She has one goal: keep her head down while counting down the days until the prophecy comes to pass. But the town and the people that live there are not what she expected. When Corey meets Adrian Huxley, a local water elemental witch, her secret is no longer safe. The closer she gets to him, the harder it is to suppress her magic. When a visitor from the past makes her question the real reason she was sent into hiding and the loyalty of the family she swore to protect, she realizes her life is not the only one in danger. It does say it is for fans of Spells for Forgetting and A Discovery of Witches. It's going to be cozy, ethereal. Again, wanted to really try that out. I also picked up Thief of Magic by Bree Moore. She'll steal anything if it means finding the cure for a deadly strain of magic. Ever since the ancient Sateri blessed Earth's inhabitants with thaumaturgy, Lee has been able to enter the liminal realm, where she can influence the world without being seen or heard. But each time she uses her magic, it tears her cells further apart. Like a cancer, the magic eats away at her from the inside out. Fortunately, her ability makes her invaluable to the thieving crew she works for. Unfortunately, the crew is going broke. Lee is determined not to go down with them. She just has to steal enough to buy the coordinates for the Sateri's home world and convince them to heal her, even if it means losing her abilities. But when the crew hires on a new bit of muscle to help out with a last-ditch heist, Lee finds herself being tracked and her motives questioned by the crew. To make matters worse, the FBI is hot on Lee's trail and they're closing in. Racing against arrest and her own death, can Lee reach the Sateri in time? It does say it's going to be for fans of the Dresden Files and the Isabella Hush series, which I don't know what that series is, but if I like this one, I might have to look into that. I also picked up Disillusioned by Brianna Solgalski, but it also says by Briar Somerset. I want to say that's probably a pen name because this is technically book 2 in a series, where the first book was Disenchanted. I have not read that one yet. It is something that I want to read, but this is a medieval dark fantasy for fans of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Jane Austen, Ella Enchanted, and My Lady Jane. Like, again, very, very intrigued by this. And because this is a sequel, I do believe it is like a direct sequel. Book 1 says, this is the tale of a cursed princess, a crestfallen killer, the town that wants them to burn, and the witch who can save them both. It is going to be fantasy romance with like vampires and things like that, I'm pretty sure. And so, yeah, when I saw that we actually had book 2 out as well for free, I did grab that one. And then the last one I got from this first round of like Stuff Your Kindle stuff was Deals and Dalliances by Anne Willoughby. This is again going to be another sequel to a book that I already have on my e-reader. The first one is Baked and Brewed, but it does look like this is potentially a like companion novel because Baked and Brewed follows Willow and Winston, whereas Deals and Dalliances follows Piper and River. But they're supposed to be like cozy fantasy type things. So I'm not gonna look into it too much, but I did pick that up as well. And then I think we have what, like 9 rest of the things that actually I got during a fantasy romance legacy. Is that what they're calling it now? It used to be Fantasy Romance February, but now it's not. I can't remember, what is it called? Society. Fantasy Romance Society. They changed it a little bit because they're not just operating in February anymore. It used to be more of like a readathon type of thing, which is completely fine. But so I picked up like 9 books. All of these books were technically 99 cents instead of free. But I did have some credits on Amazon for something I had to buy that I could only find there. And it was one of those like, do you need it now or can you wait? And I waited, so they gave me credits. So everything that I bought, I actually got for free because I had credits. So the first one that I picked up this time, and this was near the very, very end of October, like October 29th or something. Empire of Shadows by Jacqueline Benson. This is the first book in the Raiders of the Arcana. I have been very intrigued by this. I think I have the prequel on my e-reader, but this one is supposed to be like for fans of The Mummy, and I'm very intrigued by that. So it says, one trifling little arrest shouldn't have cost Ellie Mallory her job, but it's only the latest in a line of injustices facing any educated woman with archaeological ambitions. When Ellie stumbles across the map to a mysterious ancient city, she knows she's holding her chance to revolutionize pre-Columbian history. There's just one teensy complication. A ruthless villain wants it, and Ellie is all that stands in his way. To race him to the ruins and avoid being violently disposed of, she needs the help of maverick surveyor Adam Bates, a snake-wrestling rogue who can't seem to keep his dratted shirt on. But there's more than Ellie's scholarly reputation and life on the line. Her enemies aren't just looters, they're after an arcane secret rumored to lie in the heart of the ruins, a mythical artifact with a power that could shake the world. Between stealing trousers, plummeting over waterfalls, and trying not to fall in love with her machete-wielding partner, will Ellie be able to stop the oracle of a lost empire from falling into the wrong hands? Again, definitely want to read this one. I also picked up Outcast by Annabelle Chase. I live by one simple rule: no magic. Not too hard in the human realm, plus it keeps me hidden from my evil sorcerer father. Safe. When I'm forced into using magic to save an innocent family, the jig is up, or so I believe. Instead, I'm whisked off to an academy of magic in a place I never knew existed. The problem is my power is completely raw, which means I don't know my butt from a broomstick. At first, it's all wands, witches, and a new wardrobe until I get caught in a restricted area with a dead body. Now it's going to take more than magic to clear my name. Thanks to new friends and a magically delicious vampire called Grey, I don't have to fly solo anymore. I'm out of my depth and out of options. Can I catch a killer before it's too late, or am I doomed to live a life on the run? And then actually, I think when I picked this up for 99 cents, this is actually like the entire series. It's a box set, but this is actually like 10 books. It's a whole series. So like this first one, Outcast, is a trilogy called Warden of the West. The next trilogy is Sentry of the South. The duology, there's Enforcer of the East, and then the last duology is Keeper of the North. So it's all going to be following these people that I guess are like witches for these directions. And so, yeah, I have the whole like 10 book series. The next one I picked up is Librarian Witch by Ella Hendricks. I didn't know I was a witch until a pair of cats started talking to me and I received an official summons to report to a training school for my supernatural abilities. That's when I'm shipped off to a highly esteemed university for the supernatural, Moongrove Academy. I go to class alongside shifters, vampires, and other creatures straight from the paranormal books I love so much. When magical testing reveals that I'm a librarian witch, I'm ecstatic. Except it turns out it means I'm a custodian of knowledge and creatures from beyond our dimension, rather than a curator of books. Librarians around here wield silver swords instead of decimal systems, and I'm about to find out why. On my first day in the library, I accidentally release an ancient dimensional being from centuries-long imprisonment. It escapes and begins terrorizing everyone on campus. My screw-up wakes Geo, a duty-bound gargoyle who senses danger to his destined mate. Me. But he's not the only one watching my back. I team up with Benjamin Cross, an enigmatic warlock with a killer smile who is searching for his lost little brother in all of this mess. Yet the most mysterious man of all is Faerun, the dimensional I freed. He claims he isn't responsible for the murders across campus. If that's true, then who is? I must find out before anyone else is hurt and I'm expelled. Spare a little luck my way. I'm still in my first semester. So this is going to be academy. I am actually really in love with like college-aged academy settings, even though I dislike YA high school settings. And it's going to be Why Choose Romance. It does say it's medium burn with fated mates, some enemies to lovers. I'm just very intrigued by this. I also picked up Reluctant Wizard by Jeff Kennedy. Only in an insane world would a young wizard find herself battling monsters and automatons one day and returning to Convocation Academy to cram for finals the next. But this is the world Elise Fell lives in. Like it or not, Elise must face the consequences of ditching out a second time and dealing with the crushing workload assigned to her as punishment. Worse yet, succeeding at the academy means Elise must learn to master her powerful and unusual magic, the same magic that caused her to accidentally murder her own mother. But graduating is her only way to protect the family she has left, and perhaps save the convocation itself. Killian Harahel is a wizard of the mind, an archivist, a disciplined thinker. Thus, he absolutely cannot be in love with Elise Fell. Apart from the fact that he is faculty and she's a student, one destined for far more greatness than a lowly librarian like him, the provost has told him in no uncertain terms that Elise is off limits, which would be much more of a problem if Elise actually remembered he was alive. Killian has resigned himself to being Elise's friend and mentor, but when she cuts off even that much contact in the coldest way possible, he suspects that darker forces than either of them imagined are haunting her. Elise has made it clear she wants nothing to do with him, but how can he abandon her to the demons clawing at her, from her house's enemies to the doubts plaguing her own heart? I also picked up Bound the Wild Fae by Tavia Lark. I read Prince and Assassin by Tavia Lark. It was like my favorite book of the year that I read it, so I've always been more intrigued by more stuff from this author. This is technically Fortune Favors the Fae book 3, but they're all written by different authors, so I do believe they're probably all just set in the same world with different characters, obviously. So hiding from the Fae isn't an option anymore. Folly is a fortune teller, according to the sign outside his tent. Actually, he's a nervous wreck and a total fraud. His golden eye might be magical, but Folly doesn't see the future. He sees the dangerous, beautiful creatures lurking in the shadows between realms. Avoiding the Fae keeps Folly safe, until a misfired curse binds him to one. Yarrow is a wild Fae, half Fae, half other, and all seductive confidence. He's on a quest to slay a monster and earn his place in the summer court, an easy task for a warrior like Yarrow. Not so easy when the monster's curse tethers him to a terrified human. Now Folly and Yarrow can't leave each other's proximity without agonizing pain. Folly is desperate to return home, but to break the curse, he has to follow the intimidating Yarrow into a world full of the creatures he spent his life hiding from. And Yarrow's familiar homeland seems far deadlier when he has a tiny, fascinating human to protect. Then I also picked up Bonds of the Forsaken by Olivia K. Moto. This is going to be another Why Choose. It says, in a world of forbidden magic, fate plays a cruel game, binding 5 souls to the one mate who could destroy them. This Fae prince is going to be the death of me. He's a spoiled party boy whose only skills are flirting and, well, you know. There's a reason his special piercings are famous. Okay, you might lose me a little bit with that, but I was very intrigued with everything else. Not that I care. I refuse to get involved with that arrogant bastard, especially since the shadow monster he barely keeps contained will kill us both if given the chance. But when he's assigned to the most important mission of my career, I can't afford to walk away. Not when staying risks me being caught by the Empire's most deadly mage hunter. He insists our single toe-curling kiss bewitched him and is obsessed with proving I'm hiding magic that could threaten the world. I'll do anything to keep him from discovering how close he is to the truth. Can I outrun the growly mage hunter and outwit the seductive Prince of Shadows in time to complete my mission? Life, sanity, and secrets intact. Yeah, I'm curious about this one. The good thing is I technically got it for free just in case it's not up my alley. Then I also picked up another box set, which is Prophecy of the Forgotten Fae. I want to say the box set I got is the whole series of this, which I think is just 3 books. And the first one is A Throne of Shadows. This is by Tassanja Odette. I don't know if I mentioned that, but this says, a feisty outlaw, a conniving prince, a war of magic and shadows. It's going to be perfect for fans of Throne of Glass, Air Awakens, and Shadow and Bone. It does say it's upper YA, just keep that in mind, but again, I'm very curious about this. Wanted by the crown for a murder she didn't commit, Cora dreams of getting revenge on the mage who framed her. In the meantime, she hides in the forest and hones her witchcraft, but when she discovers her enemy's violent hunt for fairy creatures, she forms a plan for vengeance. Prince Terran, heir to a bankrupt throne, will do anything to keep his country from sinking into ruin. When he meets an outlawed witch wanted by a neighboring kingdom, he gets his chance. The woman has an impressive bounty on her head, one that could pay off his kingdom's debts. If Terran can help Cora save a few magical creatures, he can gain her trust, hand her over to her king, and collect the bounty. But Cora has plans of her own, and none of them include being betrayed by her handsome new traveling companion. The closer Cora and Terran get to their desires, the harder their tasks become. And it isn't just their budding attraction that's the problem. A secret war is coming, one stemming from ancient feuds and Forgotten Fae magic. They must work together to stop it, or else both their kingdoms will crumble to ash. I also picked up Ghost of Lies by Alice Winters. Hero. Though I was born with the ability to see the dead, I struggled with it until my brother was killed and his ghost was left behind. Now I'm determined to figure out who is responsible for his death. The problem is that Detective Maddox Booker, the one working the case, is a grumpy and stubborn man who wants nothing to do with me and definitely doesn't believe in ghosts. It doesn't help that I keep finding myself looking ridiculous in front of the detective, thanks to interfering ghosts who enjoy laughing at my expense. Still, the more I'm around Maddox, the more I realize that beneath that surly exterior is a kind and caring man who will do anything to help. Maddox. When another man dies, I know we have a serial killer on our hands, the same murderer who has remained elusive for a year and a half. To add to my frustration, I keep running into Hero at crime scenes only to hear him claim that he can talk to ghosts. The words of the dead could lead us to the serial killer and even tell us who is next. But ghosts? There's no such thing as ghosts. Hero is determined and charming, and no matter what I do, I can't stop letting him get involved. He's definitely snagged my attention, but when he nearly winds up dead, I know he's getting closer to the truth, and if I don't do something soon, he might be next. And then finally, I got Trial of the Cursed Eggs by Serenity Rain. This one was not technically on the Pharaoh Society, like $1 sale, but it was something that I had enough credits for, and I've been curious about it. It is Why Choose Again with Academy settings, I'm pretty sure, so I picked it up. Draconis Academy, there you go, yep, makes rulers or weapons, and I don't need a crown to prove myself. My plan is to enter the academy, march into Shadow Carve, and sharpen into the blade my father always wanted. I'm a shadow blade, the hidden knife in the night, unseen by you, unexpected by them, honed for a marriage I never wanted. Dad took the girl I was, but the woman I am is untouchable. A fated mate will break my chains, and Draconis Academy, they're about to learn what real terror is. This is something that I've had on my radar. I don't remember exactly why, because that summary doesn't 100% do anything for me. It was probably something that I heard on like BookTube or something where somebody was talking about it, but I have been curious about it. So when I saw it pop up as like one of those like, based on the books that you're choosing, this is something that people like, I had credits, I got it. So that's everything. This is probably a longer video than we wanted to do, but that's everything I got. My stack, like I said, is all the way up here. I now need to find a place for them on the shelves, but the good thing is I am doing the Clear Your Shit readathon from the beginning of November through the very end of December, where we're trying to read things that are on our TBR. I am also trying not to buy anything personally for myself during those 2 months. I do think I might still have a couple pre-orders that I have ordered at the beginning of the year or the middle of the year that are still coming in. But besides that, I do not have any plans to go somewhere and buy books, except for I do always get the kids' books for Christmas. But otherwise, hopefully this is the last huge ass book haul we have for the year. And that is going to be it for me. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so I will see you then. Bye!